You ever been on a project where, every single person does their job perfectly? I mean, absolutely nails it, and yet the entire mission still crashes and burns? It's this huge, frustrating problem you see everywhere, from massive defense programs to big tech launches. Well, today, we're going to unpack this paradox of perfect failure and look at a way to actually engineer success right from the start.
Right. Let's think about a Formula One team for a second. Imagine they've got a world champion driver, the absolute best tires money can buy, and a car that is a complete marvel of engineering. Every single piece is a winner. So why are they still losing races? This is the exact puzzle we're trying to solve here. How can all the parts be perfect, but the whole mission just fails?
And yeah, that's what we're calling it. The paradox of perfect failure. It sounds kind of weird, right? It's this counterintuitive thing that happens all the time in really complex projects. So let's dig in and figure out why.
The traditional way of looking at it is pretty simple. If you build a great system, the project will be a success. But the reality? Oh, it's way more complicated than that. Modern missions aren't just one thing. They are these sprawling, complex ecosystems. Success isn't just about one piece of tech. It's about how all these different groups, government agencies, industry partners, the operators on the ground, are all working together in sync.
Okay, so if the big problem is that everything's out of sync, we have to figure out where that misalignment is coming from. We're kind of shifting from looking at what the problem is to really understanding why it's happening in the first place.
And it all boils down to this one core issue: local optimization. Basically, every team is doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Suppliers? They're laser-focused on hitting their cost and schedule targets. Government? They're making sure every policy and process is followed to the letter. Operators? They just want something that's ready to go and easy to use in the field. And the engineers? They're chasing technical perfection. See, everyone is succeeding in their own little world, but these individual wins don't add up. In fact, a lot of the time, they end up pulling the entire mission in completely different directions.
For decades, the focus has been on this really simple two-part relationship. You have the program that builds the system, and you have the system itself, project management and systems engineering. But that view is it's dangerously narrow. It completely ignores the bigger picture, the wider enterprise that actually makes all the work possible.
So, here's the crucial insight, the real light bulb moment. For any big mission to actually succeed, you have to get three totally different but interconnected systems all aligned. First, you've got the solution system. That's the actual thing you're building. Then, there's the project system. That's all the plans, the contracts, the rules around it. And finally, and this is the one that's often forgotten, the organizational capability system. The factory, the skills, the processes that actually build and sustain it all. If these three are out of sync, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure.
So if the problem is that these three systems are all pulling in different directions, then the solution has to be about engineering them to work together. We have to stop engineering just one part of it and start engineering the entire enterprise.
And this is exactly where this new approach called Mission and Business Engineering, or MBE, comes into play. Think of it like a master discipline. It's not here to replace things like systems engineering or project management. Instead, it's like this overarching framework that integrates and aligns everything towards that one single mission. It says, hey, the whole enterprise, the people, the processes, the technology, that whole thing is one giant system, and it needs to be engineered for success just like anything else.
At the very heart of MBE is this really simple but incredibly powerful health check, the fit, form, and function triad. Let's go back to our car analogy. So the solution system, that's the car. The project system, that's the race plan. And the capability system, that's the factory. Now, each of these has a fit, how it connects to the overall mission. It has a form, its internal structure, and it has a function, what it actually does. If the car's function is built for intense off-road racing, but the race plan's fit is designed for a smooth asphalt track, well, you're going to lose, right? MBE is all about the hard work of making sure fit, form, and function all line up perfectly across all three of those systems.
So how do you actually do all this? How do you make it happen? Well, you create a unified blueprint for the entire enterprise, and that blueprint is called the architecture of intent.
This architecture of intent is basically the master plan that stops that local optimization we talked about. It acts as this stable, constant reference point that connects the why of the mission with the how of the enterprise structure and the what of the system's behavior. It's what makes sure that no matter what changes or what surprises pop up, every single part of the enterprise is still pulling in the exact same direction.
And this architecture is really built on three core pillars.
First, you get the full picture. You create a shared model so that everyone, from the engineer on the ground to the CEO in the corner office, has the exact same understanding of the mission. Second, you align the blueprints. You make sure the org chart, the roles, the rules, all of that actually supports what the mission needs. And third, you sync the actions. You make sure the day-to-day work that every team is doing directly supports what the system actually needs to do to succeed.
And when you get this right, when it all clicks into place, you achieve something called mission coherence. And let me tell you, the benefits, both inside your organization and out, are absolutely massive.
Internally, the change is just huge. Your business processes stop being about just ticking boxes, and they start actively creating real value for the mission. Your governance becomes flexible, it can adapt to new information instead of just enforcing rigid, outdated plans. The entire culture shifts to be mission first, and leadership is finally empowered to do its real job, keep everything aligned.
And externally, the payoff is just as big. Your relationships with customers and suppliers, they become true partnerships, all focused on a shared mission. The risk of different systems not playing nicely together just plummets. And when the world inevitably changes, the entire ecosystem of partners can adapt together, coherently and effectively.
And this all leads to this really powerful shift in how we think about leadership. It's no longer just about managing people and budgets. As the source material puts it so well, leadership becomes the custodian of the architecture of intent. Their number one job is to protect the coherence of the entire enterprise.
And that kind of leaves us with a final big question to think about. Is your organization, or any you've ever worked with, truly engineered to win? Or are all of its different parts just engineered to try their best, and everyone just hopes it all works out in the end? What this framework really shows us is that with the right architecture, we can stop just hoping for success and start actually engineering it.